Hello, and welcome to the next episode of My Life with MS. This is part 7 of my series where we are going to conclude everything that I've been through since 2019 up until now, so live time. This is the most exciting and exhilarating episode that I am able to share, and I just can't wait to go over everything with you. So in this episode, I'm going to go over my latest MRI results and how I'm maintaining my health since those MRI results and what my plan is for the future. So I really appreciate your time and your dedication to my story so far. If you have found my story helpful or impactful at all, please share and subscribe and get this story out there because there's thousands of people with multiple sclerosis or any autoimmune condition that could benefit from following these steps that I followed. As a little disclaimer before we dive in, please note that I am not a medical professional and nothing that I say should be taken as medical advice. These are personal opinions based off my experiences, and I just hope that you can learn from it. Please ask your doctor or your medical team for any insight in addition to what I'm sharing with you today, just to make sure that it's right for you before you make any major changes. So just please understand that disclaimer, and let's get in. All right, so this is part 7. If you haven't listened to my story so far, please start from the very beginning. Go through part 1 all the way through part 6 so you can get an understanding of where I have been and how far I've come. In my last episode, I went over my testing results and my tests to discover that I had some actual issues with my lower intestines. And I strongly believe that I was able to recover from the bacterial infection that I had been living with for so long, because I felt like a new person after going through that series of antibiotics to clear up the infection. So then after that, I did get tested for EBV, and that was positive. There are a lot of things with EBV that I'm still learning and still trying to discover. I am taking a regimen of supplements that I will post in the description below that are supposed to handle EBV vitality and symptoms. So I will post those in my description. Okay, so after those tests came back, that was in August, I believe. So the testing was in July, and the results, my last appointment with my doctor was in August. Unfortunately, my doctor had to move out of state. And so she actually closed down her clinic, and I was actually given very little notice that was happening. And so she actually moved out of state and left. And unfortunately, all the files that I had left with her. So they were going to send me a USB with all my files on it. That USB was never received. So unfortunately, that happened. And this is why I really want to point out, if you have a medical condition at all, please download your records and print them out. Make a copy of it, make a digital copy of it, keep track of everything. Keep it in your own personal medical binder. All right, so she ended up closing down her clinic and sending me on my way. So now, since August, I was doing a regimen of supplements. I was still doing some fasting here and there, and I was really trying to follow my anti-inflammatory diet, which I will get into in my next episode. I'll go over the diet, the protocol that I created for myself, just to really hone in on my cans and cannots with food. So then we go through August and we go through September and October, November, and I'm just trying to follow this regimen. And I'm also feeling so good. I'm on top of the world. One major thing that I noticed is that when I would fall short and I would cheat, it was holidays, I would cheat a little bit. I wasn't feeling this detrimental fatigue that I used to experience. And that was a huge win for me. I do not cheat often, but when I do, I used to be hit hard for about 3 days. It would take me like 3 days to recover. And then I would actually fast to cleanse myself and then get back into my anti-inflammatory diet. But what was really interesting is that when I did fall short, which everybody needs to have some grace with me and with yourself, in that you may fall short sometimes, and that's okay. As long as your eyes are set on the goal, it's okay to fall short. Do not be so hard on yourself. Understand that other people fall short as well. Nobody's perfect, and that you will have to, you'll just have to try again next time. Just keep trying. So fast forward, I was in prayer and fasting for like a 3-day fasting thing that I was doing. And God really spoke to me that my next MRI was going to be on the 18th. I didn't know which month that meant. I actually thought it was October 18th. So then I was just living life. It was the holiday season. And then my imaging center actually called and was like, hey, we got a referral from your neurologist and we need to do an MRI. When would you like to schedule it? And I said, can I see when my last MRI was done? And they said my last MRI was done December 18th, 2023. And I was like, oh, okay. So maybe this is when the 18th number comes to mind. And I said, okay, do you have December 18th available for an MRI? And they said, yes. So what was crazy about that is that I knew in my journaling and in my prayer that I was going to get my next MRI done on the 18th. I just wasn't sure which 18th that was. Subconsciously, I had my last MRI on December 18th. So maybe that was stuck in my mind. And it just so happens that they had availability on December 18th, 2024. So I just thought that was really interesting. So I scheduled that MRI and I'm getting 3 MRIs done. So we're looking at the brain and the T-spine and the C-spine. And then that day finally arrives. So up to that date, I was pretty nervous. So this would have been my first MRI since truly changing my entire life, my entire process, my entire diet, my faith, everything. This would have been 1 year since my last MRI. That last MRI I had was the one that showed that I had 40 lesions and I was heading downhill really fast. And that was the time where I was like, I just need to stop. I need to stop all treatment and see if I can do this on my own. And that was the time where I had been fasting and things like that. I was feeling so good. So it was really a shock that my MRI was so bad. But on paper, everybody was pushing me to get back on treatment, even though I felt so good. So that was the year prior. That was 2023. Anyways, fast forward to this last year in 2024, I was preparing the week leading up to this MRI, and I was in prayer all day, every day. I don't know if you guys understand the level of power that either comes with prayer or spending that time just solely focusing and praying and begging God for healing. There were times where I was on my hands and knees and I just prayed to God that this MRI showed good news. I've undoubtedly completely changed my life, my perspective. I wholeheartedly believe in God. I unapologetically am living for Him. And there was a time where I got on my hands and knees and the trigger thought that really melts me. And that means when, you're feeling strong, you have peace, but there's a trigger thought that jumps into your mind. The trigger thought was like, my son needs his mom. My husband needs his wife. My kids need their mom. I need to be here. I will do anything. Please show me that the things you've brought to me this last year are working for me and that you're true to your word. Lord, please hear my prayer. That was my biggest thing. Please hear me. As a Christian, as anybody going through a spiritual revelation, it is not always easy. It is a lot of highs and a lot of lows, and you're battling every single day. And the best advice I can give you is don't give up. Like, just solely fix your eyes on what God is telling you and ask God for that peace or for that conviction. So a big part of my whole process was, God, give me peace. Give me peace in my heart if I'm supposed to do X, Y, Z. If I'm not, Lord, please convict me. And conviction is a feeling where you have a pit in your stomach, and it's not so much nerves. It's like a pit in your stomach and a tightness around your neck to almost like you want to throw up, of you need to stop this right now. And that's the level of conviction that I had when I was considering doing treatment. Every time someone told me to do treatment again, I would kind of get this clench in my stomach and in my throat of I shouldn't be doing this again. I shouldn't be doing it. I just knew it. And I had more peace saying no to it than I did saying yes. And that to me is conviction, because I also asked for that. God, convict me one way or another. Leading up to this MRI, I was just really up and down. I was really distraught one day. I was really happy and peaceful the next day. And it's all about that relationship you have with God and what that prayer life looks like. And I tried to make it a point every single day to pray in the morning and pray in the evening and pray throughout my day. And I'm just consuming my day with God and worship music and everything. And honestly, it changed me in a lot of ways. I was being purified in a way. It wasn't just about MS. It wasn't just about my health. It was about my mind. It was about my actions. It was about the way I spoke. It was about the way I treated other people. It was so much more than just my health. And I truly saw myself change and grow into a different person. And I just think that's possible with anybody. If you give your life to God and you step out in faith, that you can have this relationship. It's just a beautiful thing. And God's going to work through you on a one-to-one basis. It's not about anybody else. It's just about you and your journey. And you guys, if you've been following me along so far, you have seen my last prayer before going into that MRI. I recorded it because for me, if I have reminders for myself, I've been recording it so that I have like a folder in my phone of things that like past Jen has said to future Jen. And so that's where that was coming from. So I said that prayer before walking into the MRI. They set you up in there, you're laying down, and I had my hands folded like this. I did have an IV in because of the contrast. I did get contrast this time. I needed to see if anything was active. And so I'm praying in there, and I was in there for a long time, and I'm just praying and repeating like, God, please heal me. Please heal me. Then the MRI was done, and I left that clinic. I left that imaging center feeling okay. I did ask the receptionist if she could send me the results as soon as they were available, and she told me that they would be available by end of day. Okay. So this MRI was actually done in a town over from me, so it was an hour away. So I had an hour to drive home, and in that hour I just kept repeating like, Lord God, please, please make these results be okay. I do this thing every time I get MRIs where I treat myself. Okay. So I know like either way I'm going to be, I don't know. I just felt like if it was bad news, I need to be prepared to have bad news. So I went to the store and I picked out some candy and just basically some garbage food that makes me feel good, some comfort food, because if I was going to read those results and they were bad, I just wanted to be prepared for that. And I wasn't ready to go home. I didn't want to find out the results of this MRI with my whole family around. I just wanted to be alone. And I then sat in my car for some time, but those results came through and my heart dropped because I'm reading the results and they're just saying that everything's okay. I don't even believe it right now. I'm reading the results, and in the history of my life, I've never had MRI results that showed nothing. I've always had inflammation. I've always had active lesions. I've always had growth in lesions, the growth in size, the growth in count. It was bad news after bad news for over 5 years. And in this report, it literally said no change. It just said no change. No change since the last MRI, which was a year to the day, a year ago. No change, no growth in lesions, no growth in size of lesions. And then it said that no signs of optic neuritis. Remind you, I got diagnosed with optic neuritis, and that optic nerve had 25% damaged. And so I've always had issues with that eye, with my right eye. And it said no signs of optic neuritis. And I was like, what? This didn't make any sense. I'm like, this radiologist maybe is new, maybe he's naive, maybe doesn't know what they're doing. And my husband just reassured me that this is a really good radiologist. And the reports all showed no change. Can you believe that? I still can't believe that to this day. No change. No change. I'm speechless. So when I was reading that, I was just weeping, absolutely freaking out with joy, weeping my eyes out, because what just happened? What did I go through for the last year? I did not expect a no change report. At best, what I wanted was, or what I had hoped for was a no active lesions report. But I really thought within the year, something must have happened where I had some progression. Mind you, the year prior when I got this MRI done, right after that MRI is when I had all the metal in my mouth removed. I had the permanent retainers up and down removed. I had the mercury fillings removed. And I think that had a huge impact on the level of inflammation in my mouth and my whole body. I did the metal detox too, right after that, the heavy metal detox, getting rid of all that metal in my body. And I just think that was so powerful. That was the biggest thing at that time that I did right after that last MRI, with the terrible results. So when I'm reading this, as you can imagine, like my jaw is on the floor. I cannot believe what I'm reading. And so I sent it to my husband. I'm like, is this true? Is this real? Like, no change. And like, there's only one answer for this. I truly, truly believe this is just simply because of God. I wish I went to God with these problems 5 years ago. How much greater would my walk have been, my life have been? Like, he heard my prayers. He heard my weeping. He heard me, and God painted a path for me that was so beautiful. You know, I just knew the steps I needed to take because I was walking with God, and he showed me all of these things. And I just can't believe it. So that is the biggest news. That is the biggest news of any warrior, of anybody who's going through anything. This is the best news you can receive. And that is that you are no longer progressing in your disease. It's no longer progressing. I am so thankful and I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful to God for showing me what to do every step of the way. And then Neurology Center called them and said, hey, I got this MRI. And I wanted to share with them like everything I've been doing and my whole experience, my healing journey. And they actually called me back and said, because your results showed that there was no progression, your neurologist does not feel the need to see you at this time. I still haven't seen them since. And so on another note, like, hallelujah, I am free. That's how I felt. It just felt like a breath of fresh air because I had the results in my hand that showed that stopping treatment was okay for me. It was okay after everybody warned me to not do it. And they're pushing so hard. Mind you, I wanted to stop treatment many, many years ago. I didn't like any of it ever. I hated going to the doctor for this. And now I have the results in my hand that it's okay. It's okay to take this leap. If you truly work on what's going on inside your body, I truly, truly believe it's okay to take this leap. I definitely wouldn't have done it without God's help. So I do also recommend that, start your prayer journey. Start talking to God and seeing what would be best for you, especially, in my situation, I had a son. I had a baby, and, all my focus and pressure was I need to get well for him. I need to get well so I can raise this kid. And I just thank God so much for everything that he's done for me. But I had the proof, right? I had the MRI results that were showing promising information that it was okay for me to stop treatment. And my neurologist did not want to see me, which is a compliment. But also, I never got to have that conversation and being like, hey, this happened and it was okay. I have great results. So that whole experience was absolutely incredible. So since those results, I have been an advocate for the things that I've done to get me there. So I've been a huge advocate for diet, been a huge advocate for detoxing. And that actually led me to this next thing where before my primary care doctor left and we were talking about EBV, she told me to do this Functional Nutrition Alliance program to continue learning about diet and nutrition and how that affects people like us with autoimmune diseases. And so I looked into that. I looked into this program that goes over the full body systems, and it goes over the digestive system and the immune system and the reproductive system. And it just teaches you everything you need to know about how diet and nutrition affect the body. And I knew right away that God was pushing me into another area that I needed to grow more. God opened those doors. He planted that seed with me through my doctor that I needed to learn more about nutrition. And so with the help of my amazing community and my family, my friends, I was able to get funded to join this program. And I am currently taking these classes where I'm learning everything there is to know about nutrition and how it affects the body. At the end of this course, and I pass the exams, I'll become a certified nutrition counselor. And that means that I'm going to be able to help you and thousands of other people learn what the food is actually doing to your body. And not just about the digestive system, but about all the other systems. And so it's going to really cover an array of chronic illnesses. And I am so excited to get started in that because truly that is my calling now. everything that I've learned in the last 2 years has been so fascinating to me. And I've shared the information over social media, and I've shared the information with my family. And I've just seen how it's affected myself and other people. And I can tell you today, I'm a completely new woman today than I was 2 years ago. I'm a completely new woman today than I was 5 years ago. I had negative amount of understanding with what diet and nutrition did to the body. I literally was like following old habits and trusting that my body was just going to work through it. I didn't understand the brain to gut connection, and I didn't understand how I was the one who was in control over what I consumed. And what I was consuming back then was actually killing me with the bacterial infection that was in my intestines, with how all my intolerances were at such a high level for so many different things. And I wasn't nice to my body. I was constantly eating garbage. And that was before, I had my son, and before I had a wake-up call that my body is fragile and it can be repaired. What I'm here for is to share with you that all the things that I've done are possible by you. You can cut out those bad eating habits. You can do these detoxes. You can ask these questions to your medical professional and see if you can get tested to see if you're positive for EBV or if you're positive for SIBO and for all of these things. These are all steps in the process. And I feel like they apply to everybody. I feel like everybody with an imbalance in their body can benefit from following these steps. I'm not saying you're going to be completely healed, but you're going to be one step closer to getting your life back. Because I now believe that fatigue, that chronic fatigue that I had, that was my number one problem, was all based on my stomach and my digestive system being completely, overwhelmingly inflamed. Like it was working overtime all the time. So of course I'm going to be fatigued. Of course I'm going to be completely wiped out. At this moment right now, I have no fatigue. It is insane because that was my number one issue. That was my number one complaint in life. And I just feel I'm a completely new person. I feel the way I felt when I was younger. Like honestly, 10 years ago, even longer, probably. Just all glory to God for showing me all these things. As we close out this episode, I wanted to mention that my podcast moving forward is going to continue to inform you on the nutrition aspects of my life and of the things I'm learning in this class. Anything with the full body systems, I'm going to be sharing with you. And the other big part of this podcast is I'm going to keep encouraging you to open your mind to what God can do and how God can bless your life. I want to interview and speak to other warriors of all autoimmune conditions, and I want to hear their testimonies. How did God change your life? Why did you decide not to do treatment? So my podcast purpose is to go the holistic route, to understand more about nutrition and how it affects your body, and to listen to other testimonies of other people who have gone through the same thing. There's a lot of other moms on here that have gone through the same thing. If you're a mom and you want to be the best version of yourself for your kids, please subscribe and follow along, because this is just the beginning. The series that I just went through is getting you and all the listeners caught up to where I am today. And then from here moving forward, it's going to be all informational, educational, and encouraging you to think a little bit differently and just have that faith to get better and to get well. So I hope that you've liked everything you've heard so far. I really hope I have your support, because genuinely I'm coming from a place of love. I care about how you're being treated in the medical world, because honestly, I felt like I was just a number, and my neurologist doesn't want to see me anymore because I'm not on a treatment for them. I'm not making them any money. And frankly, that's just how I felt. They don't want to see me at all. They don't want to talk to me at all. And that's just kind of a little off-putting. And so I feel like a lot of people are probably experiencing the same things. And in my next episode, I want to share with you all of the supplements that I currently take and something that I created on my own called Protocol 73. So if you found this episode helpful and encouraging, please subscribe and please follow along. Please share with a friend or family member who can benefit from hearing this. I hope you find this encouraging, and I will see you on the next episode.